The High Road is dedicated to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, past, present, and future. Meet Keith Warren. As a 30-year veteran of the outdoor industry and devoted conservationist, the original Texas angler and outdoor television icon has hunted across America and around the world.
That's badass right there.
Showing you big game, educating outdoorsmen.
Yeah, this is good.
And uniting all hunters.
I'll be signing autographs later tonight.
I want one, I want one.
That's Keith Warren. And this is the High Road.
I'm TJ Stenger with Reconyx Game Cameras. I came out here last year with Keith to hunt antelope with a bow during the rut. I'd never taken an antelope with a bow before. I tried a bunch of times, but I was really looking forward to a shot at it on this hunt. I was really excited. It was the rut, and I knew we were going to have a lot of opportunities, but I also knew we had to get it on film, and otherwise it wasn't going to count. So I knew that was going to make it a lot more difficult. I've got Keith's cameraman with me for this hunt. I call him Bobby Big Time.
Rolling.
Hi, this is TJ Stenger with Reconyx.
No, say it one more time.
I'm with Reconyx.
No.
I came out here last year.
No.
Hold on a second. We're going to be spending a lot of time together on this hunt in the blinds, waiting for these antelope to come in. Keith's going to be filming himself in a blind, so that should be a challenge for him. But I'm glad I got Bobby Big Time. It was pretty hard. These antelope were in the rut, so they were coming in, and with the camera and these box blinds, it was a circus in there. We were moving around trying to get shots out windows. They'd come into the right, they'd come into the left. It was really hard. It was crazy.
This window, open this window. Stop.
Wow, that was crazy. I ended up taking a shot as I was falling off my chair. We had a circle going on in here between all the windows as this thing is rutting, chasing does. We can't get it to stop. We're trying to get a camera on it. These blinds just don't work for a camera guy and a bow guy to hunt antelope during the rut. They don't stop. We seriously had every window open and closed in this blind in a complete 360. Before I launched one, he couldn't stop. I'm falling out of my chair. I'm figuring this is the best shot I got. Missed low, hit the water. Disaster, disaster. Sorry about your luck. No blood, no hair, no nothing. Right into the mud.
The High Road with Keith Warren is brought to you in part by Gammo Precision Air Rifles. Supercharged scent killer by Wildlife Research Center, beyond 99%. Keith Warren's Texas Hidden Springs Ranch, the best value in Texas trophy deer hunting, and Grave Digger Broadheads by No Limit Archery. Watch the High Road in HD at highroadhunting.com.
All right, we're back. We're back this year, and this year I came with my crossbow to make it count. There's really two ways to hunt antelope. You either sit in a ground blind or in a blind at the water hole, or you go after them on foot. And I know Keith, he's sitting in the water hole again in the blind, but this year I'm going after him with the crossbow. I know it's going to be tough.
So here we are. It is opening week of the 2013 archery season in Wyoming. TJ, I think he really wants to go out and spot and stalk. And spot and stalk, well, spot and stalk, I think he'd be able to have a much easier chance coming up and getting a shot at an antelope using a crossbow than he would with a vertical bow. Now, both of us love vertical bow hunting, but TJ and I both decided because crossbows are legal in Wyoming in archery season, we'd go ahead and bring the crossbows this time.
We spotted this buck. We're on the last couple hours of the hunt here, just like last year. Last hour of the hunt, just like last year. We're trying to put a spot and stalk on this thing to see if we can make it happen just like last year. We'll see what happens here. Yeah, it might be a little low. All right, we just took the shot. I think I hit him a little bit back and a little bit low. A little longer shot than I wanted to take, but we're down to the last hour, and we did have the old trusty crossbow, so I had a good feel with the sticks, solid feel, so I think we got a good chance here. It's been hot as heck. We've had a rough few days of hunting just because it's been so hot. But Mike here with Blue Rock Outfitters, he put us on them last minute, just like last year. Same deal last year, last hour of the hunt. That's just my luck.
All right, here we are. We found him. We gave him a little bit of time. Thought the shot might have been a little far back and low, so we wanted to give him some time, and sure enough, we found him here. It was a great spot and stalk. This year I decided to go with the crossbow and chase these things on the ground instead of sitting in a ground blind on the water hole like Keith decided to do. I did a lot of that last year, and that's how I shot that last minute buck last year. This last minute buck happened with spot and stalk, and it's awesome that we found him. So yeah, it was great. Now we're gonna go get in the deer stand and try to fill our other tags. So awesome. Wyoming archery.
Now, one thing we wound up doing is we didn't just put in for antelope tags and get lucky enough and draw the tags. Now keep in mind, the success rate of drawing up here is really high because there's a lot of private ground. And so a lot of guys in the public just won't put in. So if you deal with Mike, Mike will help you put in for the right unit, and the odds of drawing a tag are really good. So we drew the antelope tags, but we also drew deer tags. And the cool thing about drawing a deer tag up here is you can use it for either a white-tailed deer or a mule deer. And so if we have an opportunity to make a run on a white-tailed or mule deer, we're gonna do it. The Little Powder River is about 150 yards other side of this blind. It's an elevated stand. And you can see that he's got elevator brackets on it from the folks at Shadow Hunter Blinds. What's cool is it gets it up high enough to see back over the levee. So we're gonna give her a whirl and see what happens tonight.
I'm TJ Stenger with Reconyx Game Cameras, and you're watching The High Road with Keith Warren.
The High Road with Keith Warren is brought to you in part by Reconyx Game Cameras, Savage Arms, Record Rack, Nature Blinds, and Jardin Consumer Solutions, makers of the Game Saver.
The northeast corner of Wyoming is someplace I've been coming up here the first part of September now for, well, since the late 1990s. I love this place. If you were a deer hunter and an antelope hunter and you love big wide open country and you love the West, this is a place to be around the 1st of September.
"103 degrees, Wyoming, Labor Day. We're archery hunting. It's hot."
You know, years ago, I wound up, I used to go out and I wanted to shoot the biggest animal I could. That's just what I want to do. And I think that as hunters, we kind of start out just wanting to go, and then we want to go out and we want to shoot something, then we want to shoot something big, then we want to shoot a lot of them, and now we kind of come back full circle if you stay in it long enough. And I've kind of come back full circle. I want to just go, and it doesn't matter anymore to me how big one is. So I want to take one. I love the meat. It just doesn't matter to me how big one is anymore. It matters to me about going and getting good video. All right, here we are. They just dropped me off. It's about 10:30 in the morning. It's going to be a real hot day out here. I'm overlooking a nice sized water hole. Real refreshing spot that as the day gets on, it's going to get really, really hot. They're anticipating over 100 degrees. And hopefully an antelope will get thirsty and come in here and get a drink. If he is, I'm sitting up here in ambush. I've eliminated all my scent as much as I can anyway. And wind's pretty good coming right in my face. I'm kind of down in a bowl and stuck up here in a little pop-up tent blind, and we're fixing to spend the rest of the day, or at least until early hours of the evening, see what happens. There's a buck walking right in here.
Knowing how hard it was for us to do this with the camera, I couldn't believe Keith was trying to do this by himself, get it on film and make the shot.
Not real happy with the shot. I wound up hitting him a little low on the little front, but I saw blood all over his side, so I don't have a doubt he's laying right over here. All right, there you go. I said it wasn't pretty. It wasn't a real good shot, but We're only about 150 yards away from the blind, something like that. But nice young buck antelope, but you know, it's a lot of fun to do. And antelope hunting, you can really basically do it two different ways. You can spot and stalk, or you can sit in the blind. TJ is choosing right now to spot and stalk, where I decided I'm just going to sit in the blind. And so we're going to get a tag on this guy. And I'll tell you what, if you haven't ever eaten antelope before, you really ought to give it a try. It's some good stuff, and if you've eaten it and you don't like it, maybe you ought to get somebody to cook it for you that knows what they're doing, because it's pretty doggone good. So we're going to get a tag on him and then get him in the shade somewhere. And this afternoon we're going to try to put a tag on a deer.
The High Road with Keith Warren is brought to you in part by Burt Coyotes, Luminoc and Lumen Arrows, Shadow Hunter, your total comfort hunting blind, Elevators, your easy way up, Supercharged Scent Killer by Wildlife Research Center, beyond 99%, and BSA Optics. Tannerite brand binary exploding rifle targets presents viewer feedback.
Calvin from Ohio writes, Mr. Keith, you've got a heaping bunch of common sense. I wish more folks could talk about the kind of tough issues facing hunters like you do. My question is, why do you talk about subjects that will make some folks mad? Good question, Calvin. The reason why I talk about it, because somebody's got to talk about it. I mean, there are so many issues facing hunters today, facing all hunters, that I think that the big thing that I see is that hunters need to realize, you know what, there's not that many of us in the grand scheme of things, and we need to unite. We need to respect one another and appreciate the fact that we do have hunters. You know, we've got high fencers against low fencers, and private property owners against public property owners. I mean, there's just so many different problems that hunters have, and I think I don't want to be like the rest of the guys and just not address issues that really need to be brought up and for people to talk about around the campfire. And that's the reason why I do it. I want to stimulate somebody's mind. I want them to start thinking that, wait a minute, how can we make hunting? How can we make the world a better place? I think that we can make the world a better place by talking about issues. If you're going to come hunt with Blue Rock Outfitters, you need to know that again, this part of the country is private and private property ownership, and they do a great job with wildlife management and land, management. The habitat is in perfect shape for animals, and it's in an area that there's a lot of oil field work going on, and it has been for like the last 2 decades, and that's actually made the hunting a lot better. The reason why is it's brought a lot more water to the area, and the more water, well, the more wildlife. Well, you can fly right into Gillette, Wyoming. It's in the northeast corner, and then Mike will wind up coming and picking you up into the camp. Oh, it's about an hour drive. Honestly, I can't remember how long I've been hunting with Mike. I think it's probably been about 10 years. We come out here and everything seems to be the same. Every year we come back, which is perfect. I don't want things to change. Except this year we had a big change, and it's a great change for the better. He changed camp locations, and so the camp is it's a much more modern camp. You still stay in little cabins, but it's a much more modern camp. I mean, you've got a great shower, you've got a great kitchen, the meals are fantastic. So the upgrade, the change that he made this year is really a good upgrade. All right, let me tell you about the equipment that I'm using on the program today. First off, again, I'm using a crossbow. This is a striker. This is the old model. It's got a hand crank on it. I've got it topped off here with a HHA sight. Now, this is an incredible piece of equipment, but this one right here is so good that I'm thinking, oh my gosh, everybody needs to know about this sight. If you have a crossbow, you need to check this out. It has a dial on it, where all you have to do is you range the distance you want to shoot, and you can crank this to exactly what you want, between 20 yards and all the way up to 80 yards. you can adjust this and lock it down. It's made by HHA, and it is a wonderful piece of equipment. This is a 22-inch long lumen arrow made by Luminox. You'll notice on the end of it, it's got a lighted nock. And a 20-inch arrow will not shoot properly out of it because it doesn't have enough distance to overhang the end of the rail. As far as broadhead goes, I'm using a 100 grain grave digger. And the grave digger is a part mechanical, part fixed blade. You can see it right there. It is a hybrid broadhead, if you will. And it flies wonderfully. This crossbow I'm shooting very accurately, up to 80 yards. I mean, scary, it's so accurate. And this is the equipment I'm using. I'm looking forward to getting out in the stand and showing you how it works.
The High Road with Keith Warren has been brought to you in part by Diamond Down Thermal Gear, the world's most effective thermal apparel for hunting. Comal Taxidermy Studio of New Braunfels, Texas is proud to be the exclusive taxidermy studio for Keith Warren and the High Road.